What's going on, guys? My name is Hunt Paulson. I am an English teacher here in South Korea, and today I want to talk about how getting a TEFL certification drastically changed my life. For anyone who doesn't know, a TEFL certification is a teaching English as a foreign language certification. It's often coupled with a TESOL certification, which is teaching English as a second language, but they're synonymous. So, the way you get one, there are a lot of programs online as well as in class, but I've talked to a lot of educational professionals and they suggest doing an in class one because it looks better on a resume to see that you worked with students and teachers in a physical classroom. If you live in any sort of metropolitan area, I would highly recommend that. But if you are in a more like rural area, they will understand, given your circumstance. So the program that I did was Oxford Seminars, and they do it at various locations all around the U.S. I'm from Maryland, so I did mine in Washington, D.C. They'll generally do it at a university, but you don't have to be like part of the university. You just sign up for the class, and it costs just as much as like a normal college class. It's about $1,000 US, and they provide all of the materials, the textbooks, and everything. And as you're going to find out, you're going to get just as much, if not more, out of this one class than you will have gotten out of most of your 4-year degree, if not also your like master's degree as well. I wanted to preface by talking about my life a little bit before getting the TEFL certification. I went to a normal university, got a 4-year degree. I got an English degree, and came back home after college and was working a bartending job. Saving up money like a lot of post-college kids do. And for anyone who has ever done that job before, works in the service industry, you know that it's very physically and mentally demanding, but more so, this kind of just goes for any job. If you don't have the passion for that job, that is going to add just such a large amount more of mental and physical strain. So, like a lot of people that just ended college, I wanted to find that job as quickly as possible that I was passionate about, a career that had benefits. It's something that seemed really stable. I had some family suggest teaching overseas and suggested teaching in Japan because they had like a really good market for teaching English. So I thought it was a good idea and I applied. And all of my family and friends were like, gave me a lot of confidence. They were like, "Oh, you're an English major, fresh out of college, good personality. Like the world's your oyster. They're gonna love you. Like you've got any job you want, no problem." And I had like such a huge ego blow because I didn't get any of the jobs. And granted, Japan has one of the highest, if not the highest, market for English teaching, so it is pretty competitive. But I still thought, like based on my credentials, that I definitely had these jobs. Um, Coming off of it, I thought, well, this is just a sign from the universe that maybe my journey towards this career isn't complete yet. So I was like searching for possibly some other opportunities, some other countries, and I came across the advertisement for Oxford Seminars, and their whole shtick was like, we will quote unquote guarantee that you have a job at the end of this course. And I thought it was like kind of a little bit of a scam, just like a selling point. I was kind of like, oh, whatever. But then I read the reviews about the class, and it had a lot of good reviews just about the classroom experience and the teachers and stuff in general. So I thought, oh, I'll go worst case scenario. It's a good resume booster, and I'll just kind of have like the job thing be the bonus. I went and did the class. It was all day on Saturday and Sunday for like a whole month plus online work, which sounds kind of difficult, but it's paced very well. There's a lot of material to cover, and the teachers have taught from like all over the world and have done this before, so they do a pretty good job of pacing it out. And they were not lying. Upon completion of this course, they set me up with like an online advisor and who basically told me, like, give me 5 countries that you were thinking about going to, and we'll do the best that we can. And so I gave them 5 countries, one of which was South Korea. And I think it was maybe like 3 days later or something, they had set me up with like a Korean recruiter who helped me with my application and all the details pertaining to how to like get to the country, which is a whole other sort of long story in itself. But point being that it all did work out in the long run, and I credit having this job now strongly to getting the TEFL certification. So I will say that the more higher level education that you have will give you a better chance of having a really good job when you get this course. So I had people in my class that only had like a few years of college experience, and then I also had people in my class who had like a master's degree, and they were like still getting this teaching certification. So it's something that can be for like everybody of all sort of like higher education levels. Um, but if you haven't quite graduated college yet, or you didn't get the chance to like finish college, but you still want to get this certification, it will still, at the very least, secure you a position in being able to travel the world and teach in an exotic place. You may not get like all the great benefits and everything that come with some of the East Asian jobs, because in like East Asia has the highest markets, so like China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. But if teaching is something you're passionate about, and especially if you have any sort of higher level education that's in the field of education itself, getting this certification can really launch you out into the world, and can make for some memorable, just absolute amazing experiences. So I'll end by saying that this affects like a lot of Americans, and especially young Americans, the fact that wages have not gone up as quickly as basic life needs such as rent and health insurance and car insurance and gas have steadily increased as the years have gone on. And it creates a tremendous amount of anxiety in a lot of people. There's the people on like the worst kind of case scenario of it, where they don't know if they're going to be able to eat as much the next week, if their paycheck's going to make it for that. But then there's also the people that are just wondering, like, what if I get into this accident? Like, will the, D-rate insurance that I have cover if I get sick with this, or if I get sick with that, or, and I have my phone costs and I have my rent and everything, and it just keeps going up. And the wages, I mean, this isn't even if you work like minimum wage. This can be working actually like a decent job as well, where that pays like a decent wage. So I say this because with my degree and with getting this certification, which led me to this job, I now am at a point in my life where the benefits that come with this job are tremendous. And I get to live rent free. And they just take like a very small portion out of my paycheck for health insurance. And it's really good health insurance, where if I get sick, haven't yet, but if I do, it's only going to cost me like $5 or $10 to go to the doctor. And I think like worst case scenario, if I had to go to the hospital, it would be like $40 or something. I can go to the dentist if I had to. I don't have to worry about car insurance. The public transportation that I take costs me $8 in total every week, not even every day, just every week. And what that has done for my psyche, this whole like new sense of like freedom that it's given me, I go back to what I was saying about how before I got this certification, feeling that I only could get like 50 to 60% of my potential during the day. When you have this freedom, it's like mental wealth. How they say like wealth only gets like easier and easier to be exponential. It's like that when you all of a sudden have this like newfound freedom, and coupled with the fact that you have like a passion for your job, it just like opens up like a whole new world. And I've been like a musician my whole life, and like the last 2 years before getting this certification and getting this job, I was in like a real creative slump. Like I hadn't written any songs, hadn't really like worked on music like professionally too much. And in the short like few months I've been here, I've written like 3 or 4 songs, written poetry. I've read more books in the first few months of being here than I had in the whole like last 2 years of my life. I go to the gym, work out every day. It's really close to my house. It's like walking distance. Um, and I just have like so much energy that has come with like this freedom and lack of anxiety about things that people are feeling really anxious about in America, coupled with like the newfound energy that's coming from like having a passionate job. So my point being, at no matter what level of education you are at right now, if you are passionate about teaching and you are passionate about going around the world, there is no reason to not sign up for a TEFL course and give it a go, because it's only going to lead to something good. And in your best case scenario, you can end up in a position like me where you just find yourself in something that you're passionate about with a whole new sense of freedom, and it's going to give you like a whole new outlook on the world. So I hope this video has been helpful. I know it's like a very brief overview, so if you have any more questions about the process of getting the certification or the process of like living and teaching overseas, you can leave it in the comments section below. But otherwise, I wish you good luck on traveling out and finding a passionate job out in the world, and I will see you somewhere out there. Bye-bye.